It all began right here in Dover, England. I brought my kid brother Danny over for the Channel swim. My name's Griff Parker, and I trained Danny from the time he turned professional. Last year, he swam the Catalina Channel, so we figured the Straits of Dover couldn't be too tough. Anyway, our sponsor in Los Angeles was putting up the dough. To us, it was just another job. If only we'd known what was to come. This was one job we'd have turned down, but we didn't know. Well, there's your channel, Danny. Nothing between you and France but that. What do you think of it?
I'm not impressed. It's like any other stretch of water.
Don't kid yourself about that.
Oh, sure, I know. Tides and the currents, they all have to be checked out. Well, that's your department, big boy. I just do the swimming. And where I stand, it doesn't look too tough.
That's just what I don't want you to get into your head.
Look, it's only 21 miles across. I can swim it in a bathtub.
That's the least of it. When the tide's against you, you may have to go double the distance.
Forget the distance.
There are a couple of other hazards, Buster.
Like what?
Cold. Never swum in water as cold as this. If a strong wind comes up, you'll be able to swallow so much sea, you'll be out of business. Plenty have had to give up within 200 yards of home. And another thing, there's a lot of shipping goes on during the night. There's a chance of you being run down. And just in case you think this job is too far beneath you, they have their own particular brand of fog.
Boy, the way you're selling this swim, I better hop the first plane home. What's the matter with you? Why the lecture?
Danny, I've gone to a lot of trouble to find out all this. I know it's part of my job, but the least you can do is listen.
So I'm listening.
Good. And you better get a good night's sleep. Because tomorrow morning we start with your department. We'll see how tough this really is. Come on, Danny, move along. Watch that left arm.
My name's Sam Rocket, Channel Swimming Organizer.
I'm glad to know you, Sam. I'm Griff Parker.
How'd you do? How's your brother shaping?
Well, he's swimming much more relaxed now.
Glad to hear it. Keep him at it. Remember, there are no shortcuts in getting a man water fit to swim this channel.
I must say, he's done everything I've asked of him.
Should let him do a couple of all-night swims. He's got to get used to our cold nights in the channel. Be depressing for him, but it's essential.
You're right.
How long's he been swimming now?
5 hours, and he hasn't changed his pace. He's just finishing his schedule.
Why not extend him? Nip in and swim the last few lengths with him.
I think I will.
Sure.
It'll do him good to put on a little speed at the finish.
Sure.
Thanks, Sam. Now, Danny, last lap, and really move. Go on, speed it up. How was it?
It's a bit colder than you expect. Stop worrying. It's not gonna bother me.
Think you'll make it?
Are you kidding? I'll walk it. Boy, is that something.
You're supposed to be in training, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Well, don't forget. Dress up. We'll get back to the hotel.
Yeah, all right.
Trouble with handling athletes is to keep them on the job without seeming to play the heavy. With Danny, girls were always more than just a part of the scenery. As a rule, they went for him, too. It wasn't any part of my plan to have this channel swim get out of hand through a dame.
Hey, look what's swimming the channel these days.
What?
Girl down on the beach. Listen to this. Dress model in channel bid. Kitty Tyndall, a London dress model who was an amateur, has made 2 unsuccessful attempts to swim the channel, has now turned professional. Her latest effort is sponsored by her employers, the well-known West End fashion house of Charles.
Good. Then she's already taken care of, so lay off.
I haven't even spoken to her yet.
You better not. Now go on upstairs and get some rest.
Do you mind if I take her along?
Any messages for me?
Have you looked on the board?
Yes?
And there's nothing?
Nope.
Then there are no messages for you. Your laundry.
Oh, thanks.
What for?
Being so nice about it. I see you have Kitty Tyndall registered here.
That's right.
She's the model all the publicity's about. When does she plan on making her swim?
Why don't you ask her?
Thanks, maybe I will. You know something? You have an ink smudge on your nose.
Oh, there she is, over there.
Hi.
Kitty, this is Bob McKeown, who writes the sports column for the Clarion. He wants some pictures and a story. Well, don't worry, Bill. I'll see she doesn't get overtired.
You're the boss, Mr. Seymour. I'd just like to remind you that she has a 2-mile sprint at dawn.
Well, there is such a thing as overtraining, Bill.
Yes, but it's not as bad as undertraining, Mr. Seymour.
Look, we want a drink. Get a waiter for us, will you?
All right.
Fine, fine. Let's have the pictures first.
Waiter.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Seymour over there wants a few drinks. Will you see to it?
Very good, sir.
Excuse me. You're Griff Parker, aren't you?
That's right.
My name's Bill Harris. I'm training Kitty Tyndall.
Oh, glad to know you. Won't you sit down?
Well, I can only stay a moment. I must join my crowd.
You care for a drink?
No, thanks. I think I've got one over there. Your brother's a fine-looking chap. Seems to be in great shape, too.
Your girl does all right in that department, too. How long you been handling her?
Oh, I've managed Kitty now for the past 2 years. This is her 3rd attempt, you know. First time as a professional. She's just got to make it this time.
Don't you think she will?
Well, sometimes I think she won't, and it's not because she can't, you know. But I shouldn't be talking like that.
Wait a minute. What's the trouble?
Well, if I knew, I wouldn't be worrying. She's changed, you know, temperamentally. She's lost that dogged quality that makes the marathon swimmer. Impatient. Wants the result without the effort. Know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Thank you.
And please don't say I shall be modeling a Maison Charles swimsuit during my attempt, because they do not design swimsuits. Mr. Seymour is backing the swim from a pure love of sport and publicity.
Oh, we usually leave that up to the gossip writers anyway. No, what I'm really concerned about is the result of the swim. Now, if it succeeds, are you going to keep on with modeling or keep on with swimming?
I shall be guided by Mr. Seymour.
You know, I can't help wondering why you're sponsoring this swim, Mr. Seymour. Because if it succeeds, you stand the risk of losing a top model, and if it fails, you've thrown away a lot of money.
Oh, not quite. She would have been given a chance. Miss Tyndall's always had an ambition to swim the channel. I'm glad to be able to help.
And the publicity's useful, of course.
Fortunately, my business doesn't need it. But, of course, as we are sponsoring Mrs. Tyndall, she loses her amateur status. But I don't think any of us need worry what comes after the swim. Least of all, Miss Tyndall.
That's very comforting.
Well, that's fine. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bill, your drink's waiting.
Well, thanks for listening. I'll be seeing you.
Bring your friend with you.
Thanks.
This is Griff Parker. He's training his brother.
How do you do? This is Miss Kitty Tyndall.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Tell me, what's going on over there in the corner?
Party for Kitty Tyndall.
What do you know? Old Griff really gets around, doesn't he?
Most people find her attractive.
Not old Griff. He's only over there for one purpose, to make sure she doesn't get her hooks into me.
I see.
Yes, he's so busy trying to keep the girls away from me, he never has time for a little fun himself.
Really? Is he married?
Yeah, to his job. In fact, there's a woman's not born who can run fast enough to catch him.
I see.
Fact is, I don't think he even likes him.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mr. Parker.
Hmm?
Have I a smudge on my nose?
I don't see one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A toast to Kitty. May she make her swim in record time.
Here, here.
I second that, provided she doesn't beat me.
I told you to lay off.
I just want to get a closer look at the scenery.
My brother Danny, Miss Kitty Tyndall,
Hi.
Mr. Seymour,
How do you do?
How do you do?
Mr. Harris.
Hiya.
Hello, Sarah.
Have a drink, Mr. Parker.
Thanks, I'll have an orange juice. I saw you on the beach this afternoon when I came in from practice. You know, we ought to fix it up so that you and I make the swim together.
I'd like that. Gets quite lonely out there. Boats seem to be in another world.
Yeah, you get so you hate those guys just sitting there while you do all the work, handing you out a mouthful of soup in a can on the end of a pole, like you were some kind of a pet fish.
You're beginning to make me feel better already.
Good.
You swimming tomorrow?
Yeah, 2-mile sprint, crack of dawn.
Me too.
Take it easy for the first quarter mile. Get properly loosened up.
Okay.
Look, it's rougher out there today. The tide will be against you coming back, so pour it on at the finish or we'll have to pick you up 5 miles down the coast.
Here we go.
Morning, Parker.
Hiya, Bill.
Well, the weather seems to be holding.
Yeah, they tell me you can't trust it too long over here, though. Danny seems to be in pretty good shape. I figure on letting him go for the channel as soon as possible. What do you think of letting them make the swim together? We'd only need one navigator's boat.
Oh. I don't think Kitty's ready yet.
She looks ready to me. What are you worried about?
I don't know. She doesn't seem to have any confidence.
Well, Danny's got enough for both of them. Don't worry, it's probably all the publicity. Her first time out as a professional.
Well, you may have got something there, you know. Yes. Swimming together might help her to get across.
Good, then we'll fix a date.
Okay.
She'll probably push Danny into setting a new record.
Hello there. Anybody interested in breakfast?
Ah, Shelley, you haven't forgotten us. Do you know she never lets us down?
All part of the hotel service.
So you really do get away from that desk.
Oh, very rarely. Just long enough to get the ink smudge off my nose.
Well, that makes my day.
You know something, Mr. Parker?
Griff,
Griff, you're not nearly so frightening in the early morning.
do you know something? You ought to stay away from that desk.
Think about it. How you doing, Bill?
I was just wondering if I can wait till the swimmers get back. I'm starving.
Come on, Danny.
No, come here, Kitty.
You come and get me.
Won't be long now. I can tell by the way Griff's talking. I'm sure glad we're making it together.
So am I.
Are you? I must say you don't sound like it.
I'm a bit scared, that's all.
What of, the distance?
No, I don't think so. I've nearly made it twice, and I'm fitter now. It's just that...
Ah, it's just nerves. We all get that way.
I suppose you're right.
I agree with you, Griff. Barring any sudden change in the weather, we should take off just before dawn on Friday.
Good. That way we'll have the advantage of the tide over the last third of the course. We'll go around to the Channel Swimming Association this morning and fix things up.
Right, I'll get the boats laid on. That'll be 2 rowing boats and the navigator's launch.
And tell me what you need in the way of food. I'll get that fixed up.
You know, you don't want to think about the swim. It'll take care of itself once you get started. Think of afterwards.
Afterwards?
Sure, how are you going to cash in on swimming the channel? You know, as I see it, you're pretty well fixed. You can either continue your modeling or else make swimming a full-time job. Get around and see the world.
That'd be nice.
Look, why don't you come out to the States? You get plenty of work. There's aqua shows, TV, record swims, contests, all kinds of stuff. We could team up. I'd like that very much, Kitty.
Would you, Danny?
I sure would. What do you say?
I haven't swum the channel yet.
Oh, it's in the bag.
Let's talk about it when it is in the bag.
Sorry, you feeling cold?
No, it's nothing.
I think we better get back to the hotel. Hey, Kitty's feeling cold.
Come on, Margot. Let's go.
It's nothing, really. Brook Street, please.
I'm leaving the office in a few minutes, darling. Well, anything you like. It's too late for a show, but we might dine and dance. Well, you just think it over. Oh, by the way, you will let me have that check in the morning, won't you? Darling, you're not subsidizing the firm. It's an investment. Of course. Well, I'll be home very soon, darling. Goodbye.
Hello, Paul.
Kitty.
Surprised? Would you like to call your wife back?
Why?
To tell her you'll be late. Or will you just keep her waiting for you? You're good at that, aren't you, Paul?
I didn't expect you to be here.
Of course not.
What did Bill Harris say when he knew you were coming to London?
I didn't tell him.
But you're breaking training. You're making your attempt on Friday.
I know. That's why I'm here. Feeling as I do, I wouldn't get halfway.
All right. Tell me all about it.
I wish I could hate you. But I can't. Look, Paul, do you still want me or not?
You ought to know the answer to that by now.
Then why can't we have all this out with your wife?
I thought we'd agreed. I can't afford a scandal.
Then it's about time you started living beyond your means.
I'm doing that already. Listen, darling, I'm trying to establish you, to make you independent. That's why I'm backing your swim. It was your idea. What do you really want?
I want an end to all this cheating.
It'll come.
You've been saying that for 2 years.
It'll come sooner than you think. Now, you just concentrate on the job. Leave the rest to me.
Here we are, back at the same old dead end. Look, Paul, we've got to have an understanding. I'll take the next train back to Dover. I'll do anything I can to make that swim. But after that...
Yes, Kitty.
It's up to you. If you haven't gone to your wife and told her about us, I will.
Pulling a gun on me.
You know that isn't true. I'm just trying to help you make up your mind. If I have to go to your wife, it's because you're too weak to do it yourself. And I'm not going to have our lives wrecked because of that.
You're creating a storm in a teacup, darling.
I am not. You're living in 2 worlds, and no one can do that. You've got to give up one of them.
All right. I will.
You really mean that?
Yes, I really mean it. As far as you're concerned, Kitty, the battle's over.
I believe you. You'll never regret it, Paul.
I know that. Happy now?
Happier than I've ever been.
That's just the way I want it.
Bill, why don't you sit down and relax?
Look, if it was Danny who was missing, would you relax?
I wouldn't be wearing out the carpet the way you are.
I don't even know how long she's been out. The training schedule's gone to blazes.
Maybe she was restless, felt she had to break the schedule. That could happen, you know.
Did it ever happen with Danny?
Well, of course. A couple of days before the Catalina Island swim, he disappeared for hours. I found him in a roadhouse.
Well, what'd you do?
Nothing. Had a beer and took him home. That little bit of freedom did him all the good in the world.
Yeah, there may be something in that.
Well, of course there is. There comes a time in training when discipline does more harm than good. Look, Bill, if you're really worried, why don't you call Mr. Seymour?
Well, that's just what I don't want to do. He'd blame me for not being able to handle her.
Well, there's nothing you can do then but relax.
Hello there.
You've given me a nervous breakdown.
Sorry, Bill. It just had to be.
Well, what happened?
No inquest, please. I was in a prison and I had to escape. Let's leave it at that.
I understand, Kitty. I'm on your side.
Thanks. Danny all right?
Been asleep for hours.
Well, Bill, I'm all yours now. No more running out.
You look all right.
Never felt better. Back to work in the morning. Good night.
Good night, Kitty.
Good night, Kitty. Well, you'd never believe it. She's a different girl.
From where we sit, Bill, it's sometimes easy to forget that athletes are also people. She'll make it all right.
Well, I feel so good, I'm willing to buy you a drink.
No, thanks. I'm going up and hit the sack. See you in the morning.
So long.
Well, you're looking mighty pleased with life, baby.
Have I?
Mm-hmm. You lose all those nerves?
Mm-hmm.
Swell. Feel okay about the swim, huh?
The swim? Oh, I feel all right about the swim.
Good. You thought any more about what we talked about? I mean, about teaming up and coming out to the States?
Yes, Danny. I've thought about it.
And? Well, I wouldn't like to have to say goodbye to you, Kitty.
You must have said goodbye to lots of girls, Danny.
Well, this is the first time it means something.
That's just the way it seems. You'll soon forget.
You mean you're going to stay on here?
Yes.
Well, doing what?
It's all arranged.
Oh, you've signed a contract with someone, huh?
No, not just like that. Danny, I'm going to get married.
You didn't mention this yesterday.
We arranged it last night when I met him in London.
Oh. Makes everything clear. Congratulations. Who's the guy?
It's a secret. I can't tell even you that.
Now, if it were me, I'd want to tell the whole world.
We can't do that for a while. He's not divorced yet. So you won't tell anyone, will you, Danny?
No. Sorry if I spoke out of turn. I think we better take a look at those channel currents. Currents can be real mean. They can bring you together or tear you apart.
So the big night arrives. Within the hour, the swimmers will be in the water and heading for France. Then we'll see what all the coaxing and bullying and nursing of the past few weeks adds up to.
All right, everybody, let's go.
How you feeling?
Fine. Why?
Nothing, just wondering.
Forget it. It's just another job.
Well, don't worry about Kitty, Danny. I'll be taking care of her.
It's not going to worry me. Not at all.
Pre-start nerves, I suppose.
Well, he better get rid of them if he's going to do any swimming. I'll see you, Bill.
Yeah. Come along, Kitty. You know, you're going to be late.
Sorry, Bill. Won't be a minute.
Well, don't be any longer.
Won't be long now, Shelley.
I know. How'd you feel about it?
Well, I'll uncross my fingers long enough to give you these. Be an angel, look after them for me.
Of course I will.
With special emphasis on the bracelet.
I see. Bet it could tell an interesting tale, Kitty.
Kitty! Come on.
For some other time. Wish me luck, Shelley.
Of course I do, all the luck in the world. But I'll see you before the start.
Good. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Hello, Cliff Hotel here. Oh, yes, Mr. Seymour. I'm afraid she's just gone down to the beach. Yes, certainly.
Well, will you please tell her that I'm having a little trouble with my car? Well, I may not be able to get there for the start, but I'll get there as soon as I can.
Yes. Right, I'll tell her that.
Thank you. Goodbye.
I guess the start of any main event is kind of tough on the nerves. Danny and I ought to be used to it by now, but it's never any different.
Hello, Danny.
Hi.
Best of luck.
Thanks, Bill. Good luck, Kitty.
Thanks, Danny.
I'll see you on the other side, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Kitty, Mr. Seymour telephoned.
Yes?
He's having trouble with his car. He won't be here in time for the start.
Oh. Didn't he say anything else?
No, just that he'd try and get you as soon as possible.
I see.
Best of luck, Kitty. I know you'll make it.
Thanks, Shelley.
Bye-bye.
You think a lot of the boss, don't you?
He's pretty nice. Is it nearly time to start?
Almost. Now, listen. No straining to keep up with Danny Parker. If he wants to go off on his own, we'll let him.
Danny and I already have that agreement.
That's fine. And remember, although we're both using the same course, you take your instructions from me, understood?
Yes, Bill.
You sure you're all right?
I tell you I'm okay. Look, don't keep on.
You seem rather tense. You better relax. It's a long way across.
I tell you I'm all right.
Keep the same pace throughout. Nobody sets any records the first 3 miles.
I know.
Hi, Sam.
Hello, Griff. Hello, Danny. Well, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Griff, at all times, keep your eye on Danny. If you lose sight of him for 1 minute, it's just too bad. And remember, try and get his feeding over as quickly as possible. Inside a minute and a half, if you can. For the longer he stops in the water, the colder he's going to get. And Danny, whatever you do, keep your hands off that boat. There will be an observer watching you at all times, and if you touch the boat, it's just too bad. Don't ask questions either. Later on, you're going to get very tired out there and depressed. But just keep swimming. It's the only way to conquer the channel. Swim, swim, and swim. And Griff, remember, when he lands, he must walk or crawl out unaided 3 yards clear of the water's edge. And Danny, there'll be times out there when you'll be saying, is it worth it? Well, take it from me. When you do touch down, it'll be a feeling you'll never forget. Well, the best of luck, Danny.
Thanks, Sam.
And look after him, Griff, won't you?
Right.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Shelley.
Happy landings.
Thanks.
Well, Margot, it's time you got ready. Here we are. And Kitty, the jolly good luck.
I feel fine.
Good. Let's go, Danny.
Good luck.
Mr. Parker, we're almost 2 3/4 miles from shore.
We're now in the Channel Stream. Current velocity, 1.5 knots. We have to tack here.
Alter course 3 degrees to 112.
Repeat. Alter course to 112 degrees. Mr. Parker.
Did you receive me? Just wave your hand. Roger.
Keep your eyes on us, Danny. We're changing course, 3 degrees to your left. You're doing great.
Well, Shelley, I don't expect any records will be broken today.
Why, what's happened?
The helicopter's just landed. Both swimmers are going well, but I understand they've run into a patch of thick fog.
Oh, what a shame. Do you think they'll get out of it?
Not unless it lifts suddenly. Apparently it extends to the French coast.
I see. Sam, there's a radio in my room. Let's see if we can pick him up. Just how bad is it, Sam?
They've now been swimming for over 11 hours. That should put them somewhere in the main shipping lanes. With this fog, it could be tricky.
I can't see either boat. We're slowing down. Hold your course and close in on me.
Will they have to abandon it?
Depends on whether the navigator can hold them together. Luckily, they have radio contact.
If you're receiving me, give me a hail.
Repeat. Give me a hail. I'm trying to contact Danny.
Griff Parker, I can just hear you. Come closer.
Danny! Come closer. Danny!
Okay, Griff. Looking for Kenny.
Bill Harris, why don't you reply?
Repeat. Why don't you reply?
Ahoy! Navigator! I'm trying to contact Kitty Tyndall.
You've gone far enough, Kitty.
No, Paul! Ah!
Where are you? Kitty! Where are you? Give me a shot, I'll come to you. Kitty!
Kitty! Kitty!
Danny, don't touch the boat, you'll be disqualified. Danny, what's the trouble? Help down the kitty. Bill will take care of her. That's not close to the boat. We're gonna try to locate the navigator. I'm quitting. I gotta find Kitty. All right, quit only. Come aboard. You wanna get lost? I wanna look for her. Danny.
Hello, Miss Baxter. Here I am at last. Did you give my message to Miss Tyndall?
Yes, she received it.
Well, how's the race going? Any news?
I'm afraid this is going to come as a bit of a shock. Miss Tyndall is missing.
Missing? That's not possible. Surrounded by boats. I can't believe it.
They ran into fog about 10 miles out. We picked the navigator up on radio.
Well, there's nothing unusual about a patch of fog.
I know, but this extends to the French coast.
Oh, what's being done? Where is everybody? Where's
Everyone's
Harris?
out there searching. Everything possible is being done, Mr. Seymour.
Poor girl.
Can I get you a drink?
No, thank you. I'd like to telephone my wife.
following the course of the current. Report immediately if any floating object is sighted. Repeat. I'm following the course of the current.
Danny. Danny. Here. Here, drink this.
What happened? They find Kitty?
Not yet.
Not yet. Then she's...
I'm afraid so.
You slugged me, didn't you? What'd you stop me for? I could have got her.
The only way I could get you into the boat. You weren't in any shape to help anyone. Take it easy, Danny.
Where's Bill Harris?
He's out with the search party.
And why aren't we out there?
If they don't want us, we'd only be in the way.
Oh, sure. What's the difference as long as we're all right?
I told you, there's nothing we could have done. In a fog like that, nobody'd have a chance.
Very neat, Parker. That clears our conscience, doesn't it? Well, you can sell that story to somebody else. I'm not buying it.
I'm Inspector Parry, Dover Police.
Come in.
Thanks. It's about Kitty Tyndall.
You found her?
Yes. I'm afraid we have.
What happened?
Well, we don't know yet, but it seems a straightforward case of drowning.
Yeah, who says so?
You seem in some doubt.
That's right. I am in some doubt.
Well, may I ask why?
Because Kitty was an experienced swimmer. And with all of us nearby, she didn't have to drown. That's why.
Would you care to enlarge on that?
Well, we were swimming close together when I heard Griff hailing me. So I told Kitty to keep going while I peeled out to look for Griff. That's the last I saw or heard of her. Till she screamed.
Oh, she screamed?
That's right.
So you, decided to go and look for her?
I don't do my own deciding.
I took Danny out of the water.
Why?
Because of the fog. There was a chance of losing him. I got him into the boat and brought him back here. Then went back to see how the searching party was making out.
And that's all you can tell me?
What more do you want? I told you she screamed.
Probably cramp.
Are you kidding? Listen, I know what that girl was capable of. And if she was in trouble, she knew enough to get on her back and float. Wait a minute, there's something else. I heard a deep muffled note, like a high-powered motor.
It's probably the navigator's boat.
No. I got a glimpse of it. It looked like a big speedboat. Then it vanished in the fog.
What do you think, Mr. Parker?
I don't know.
I think Kitty was murdered.
That's a pretty serious sort of statement to me.
Well, it's the way I feel.
You must have got to know her quite well while you were training.
Yeah, quite well.
Did she ever give you the impression that she was in any sort of danger? Or that she was scared that she mightn't succeed?
No, this was her third attempt at the swim. She had her heart set on succeeding.
Supposing she suddenly felt she wasn't going to make it?
What are you driving at?
I'm just thinking of some logical explanation. Still, we'll have to wait for the doctor's report.
I don't care what the doctor's report says. Listen, mister, that girl was killed. I'll stake my life on it. And what's more, I'm not going to rest until I prove it.
Well, think it over. You may change your mind. And when you give evidence at the coroner's court, they'll only be concerned with the facts. Good morning.
Look, Danny, whatever you may think, we have an obligation to the people who are paying our way over here. And it doesn't allow for you to be going around playing part-time detective.
Hello, Sam. Just the man I want to see.
What's on your mind?
I've just been talking to young Danny Parker upstairs, and he swears that he saw and heard a speedboat in the water just at the time when Kitty Tyndall was missing. Have any of your observers reported seeing anything?
None of my people reported it. It's quite possible Danny thought he saw it. Long-distance swimmers have strange ideas.
Meaning what?
Hallucinations. It often happens. During the swim, of course. People become normal quite quickly afterward.
Well, he swears seeing and hearing a motorboat, and hearing Kitty Tyndall scream.
These things affect people in different ways. It's more like a subconscious mirage.
Has anything like that ever happened to you while you were swimming?
Yes, and it was pretty real at the time. During one of my attempts, I got the idea that my pilot was trying to sabotage my efforts by taking me around in circles. Of course, it was nothing of the kind, but I could have sworn it at the time.
Yes. So you think it's possible that Danny may have been imagining things?
Yes, I do. It will take a little time for him to get over it, but as I say, hallucinations have strange forms.
Yes, I'm sure you're right. I thought it must have been something like that. Thanks a lot. Hello, Masters. Anything new?
Doctor's report on Kitty Tyndall, sir.
Oh, good. Let's have a look. Oh, that seems quite clear. Death due to drowning, no trace of violence, nothing organic. Any word from the coroner yet?
Not yet, sir. I expect the inquest will be in the morning.
Hmm.
Oh, by the way, sir, there's two gentlemen waiting to see you.
Oh, what about?
In connection with this matter.
Hmm. Send him in, will you?
Yes, sir. Come in, gentlemen. The inspector will see you now.
Good morning, Inspector. Morning. This is Mr. Seymour. How do you do?
How do you do?
Sit down. Thank you.
Cheers.
Oh, thanks very much.
Have you any idea how this happened, Inspector?
Frankly, no, sir. The medical report indicates a normal case of drowning.
What?
But I don't understand. Do you mean to say there was nothing wrong with her heart or no sign of cramp? Nothing indicated. I don't understand. Why didn't she call for help?
Well, perhaps she did call for help. Fog muffles sound, you know. I only wish I could have been there in time to have gone out with them myself. You mustn't blame yourself, Bill.
There may have been other contributory factors. That we shall never know. But I'm quite satisfied that you left nothing undone. I wish I could feel that.
But Danny, you had your say and they didn't accept it. Now, you heard the verdict.
Yeah, death by misadventure. They're crazy.
Well, that's the way you feel. Look, you've done all you can. Why don't you just try to forget it? Come on.
Well, that's that.
I wonder what really happened.
Now, you stop worrying about this, Bill. After all, the police are satisfied.
Well, I wish I was.
Now, listen, Bill, the best thing for you to do is to get back to town. I'll clear things up this end.
Right you are, Mr. Seymour. Believe me, I can't wait to get away from this place now.
One large scotch, sir.
Keep the change.
Thank you, sir.
Looks as though you've really broken training.
Uh-huh.
Any particular reason?
Yeah. I quit. My brother and I had a slight disagreement.
Oh? What about?
Kitty.
Really?
Yeah. I've been wanting to talk to you about her, Mr. Seymour.
Why me?
Well, you knew her quite well, didn't you?
She worked for me for 2 years. Wouldn't say I knew her. Kitty was a curious girl. She didn't make friends easily. Or enemies, for that matter.
But she made one. The man who murdered her. A guy in a speedboat.
Oh, yes. The man in the speedboat. I heard you at the inquest.
Listen, that wasn't an illusion. I was only a few yards away when it happened.
But what makes you so positive it was murder? Who could have any possible motive?
She told me she was mixed up with a guy who was married. I promised her I wouldn't say anything, but I can't see what difference it makes now.
Did she give you any reason for keeping quiet?
It's one thing I couldn't understand. Unless, of course, he was getting a divorce.
There's not much to go on. Did she give you any other lead?
No, nothing. Wait a minute. There is something else. She disappeared a few days ago. And when she came back, she said it was all fixed up. I'm trying to remember her words. She said, we arranged it all yesterday when I met him in London. Now, if I can trace her movements for that day, I know I'll find the murderer.
Did you tell anyone else about this?
No, they wouldn't believe me anyway.
I believe you, Danny. But we've got to find the proof. Now, listen. If you go nosing about for it after your evidence at the inquest, you won't get anywhere. Why don't you leave that side of things to me? I'll have her movements traced. But it might take a few days. Best thing for you to do is to carry on with your swim.
That'll be difficult. I told you, Griff and I are finished.
I see. Well, I'll sponsor you. I still have the organization.
Okay. It's a deal, Mr. Seymour. Thanks a lot.
Oh, and Danny.
Yeah?
I shouldn't say anything to your brother about it for the time being. He might not understand.
None of his business anyway. Now I can show him I don't need him. Oh, Joe, give me a 5 o'clock call, will you?
Shall I call your brother as well, sir?
No, I wouldn't want to bother him.
As you wish, sir.
Well, Mr. Seymour, when I get back from practice in the morning, we'll settle details. I'll be seeing you.
You will, Danny. You will.
Danny! Danny! Shelley. Danny's not in his room. His gear's gone, so he must be down swimming. Would you drive me down to the beach?
Of course I will. I'm so glad he's changed his mind. Maybe we've managed to talk some sense into him.
Perhaps you're right. Let's go. I don't want him swimming by himself. That mist.
Oh, it's not so thick.
Beyond 100 yards, you can't see a thing.
You sound worried. What's the matter?
Supposing Danny was right about how Kitty died.
It sounds strange coming from you.
Yeah, I know. I'm going over it in my mind, and there's one thing Danny said that makes sense. If Kitty was in difficulty, why didn't she float until help came?
So you're beginning to think along the same lines as Danny?
I don't know what to think. I only hope that crazy brother of mine didn't stick his neck out too far. Listen.
It's playing.
It's no plane, it's a speedboat. I'm going out there.
Seymour, sure, huh? I'll clear it. You're too late, Danny! Danny! Danny!
Not a sign. 12 solid hours and not a sign. You know what one of the guys in the boat said? He said the current might take his body clear up the Dutch coast. They might never find it. What do you think of that?
I think you shouldn't go on blaming yourself, Griff.
Why not? I'm the one who's to blame for not taking him seriously.
Nobody really had a reason to believe him.
Well, I believe him now. So it looks like I'm on my own.
Only if you want to be.
You mean you want to help me?
If you need me.
I only wish I could tell you how much.
Don't worry, you have. Come, let's go and see if there's any news now.
Now, you must assume that your brother was swimming against this current here. Now, that current's running at 1.5 knots through the channel today, in which case he may have drifted 20 miles to there. Now, the Thames estuary here, we're up against the cross currents coming down from the North Sea.
I know. And a month from now, it could be picked up off the Hook of Holland, and it's just a normal case of drowning all over again. That makes it easy for everyone.
The planes will be out again in the morning, sir, and the ships will carry on tonight with searchlights.
Thanks, Masters. I don't want to seem unsympathetic. I know this is hard for you. Well, what else can we do?
Go back to Kitty Tyndall. Maybe the jury was wrong.
I'm working on that theory. I've covered the ground on Kitty Tyndall, and there's no evidence she had an enemy in the world.
Neither did my brother. They're both dead.
Well, if you can give me one shred of evidence that anybody had a grudge against him or even knew he was swimming this morning.
No one. He didn't even tell me.
The one common factor is this speedboat you and your brother heard. I can make a routine check on all boats in the area. Masters, get me the Coast Guard, will you?
Yes, sir.
In the meantime, we'll continue the search for your brother. All takes time, of course.
Yes, of course.
Coast Guard on the phone, sir.
Coast Guard?
What happened, Griff?
A lot. They're gonna make a routine check. Well, I know one thing. Whoever killed Danny also killed Kitty. I'm gonna find that guy, and when I do, the cops can have what's left of him.
Good evening, Mr. Seymour.
Oh, Parker. I'm desperately sorry to hear about your brother. Is there any further news?
No, I'm afraid not. Thanks for asking.
I saw him drinking in here last night. I wondered why he'd broken training. I gather you and he...
Well, we did have a little difference of opinion. He didn't say anything about maybe going swimming this morning, did he?
Nothing whatsoever. Perhaps he did it on impulse. I only spoke to him for a few minutes, then he went to bed. Well, there's very little one can say at a time like this. But if there is anything I can do, please call me.
Thanks, I will.
Oh, Mr. Parker. Terrible thing about Mr. Danny, sir. You could have knocked me down with a feather when they told me. I'd like to say how sorry I am.
Thank you, Joe.
He seemed so full of life last night when he put his call in.
What time was it for?
5 o'clock. I asked him if I was to call you too, sir, but he said not to bother. I thought it seemed a bit odd, seeing that you always went out together.
Did he say anything else?
No, nothing in particular. He went straight up to bed.
What time was that?
Oh, somewhere about 11. Yes, I remember that because Mr. Seymour followed him up a few minutes later, and I locked up.
My brother say anything about going swimming this morning?
No, sir, not to me, he didn't. But as he crossed the lounge, he shouted to Mr. Seymour something about seeing him after morning practice and fixing up the details.
You sure of that?
Yes, sir, quite sure. Am I speaking out of turn, sir?
No, that's all right. Thank you, Joe. Shelley.
Yes?
Shelley, Seymour just told me a deliberate lie.
Seymour?
Yes, he told me he didn't know Danny was going to swim this morning. But Joe, your porter, told me that Seymour and Danny had fixed it between them last night.
Oh, there must be some mistake.
If there is, Seymour's made it.
But what would Seymour have against Danny?
Possibly the knowledge that Danny was telling the truth about what happened to Kitty.
Go on.
And if he was allowed to continue probing, he'd find out the full truth.
I see. Griff, about Kitty, she stayed here 2 or 3 times, and I got to know her pretty well. But there's always been one thing I couldn't understand.
What?
Glamorous girl like that without a man in her life. I sensed there was someone, but he never showed up. And she never said why.
There could have been a very good reason for that.
What?
He could have been married.
Seymour's married? Wait a minute. I've just remembered something. On the day of the swim, Kitty gave me these to look after. Now look. These are all expensive. But this cheap bracelet is what she valued most.
Did she tell you why?
She said she'd tell me someday.
Maybe this tells half the story.
Maybe. Oh, Griff, we're all wrong.
Why?
Seymour couldn't have done it. He wasn't there.
You sure of that?
Positive. Kitty had gone down to the beach when Seymour phoned to say he couldn't get there in time for the start because he was having trouble with his car.
Did he tell you where he was calling from?
Some garage, I suppose.
Some garage. There must be dozens between here and London.
Why don't we go to Inspector Parry and tell him everything?
And get another brush off? He wouldn't hold Seymour 5 minutes on what we've got. We only think he was tangled up with Kitty. We've got to be in a position to break his alibi.
How?
I'm going to check every garage along that road till I find the right one.
Coast Guard's report, sir. Just come in.
Thanks. So he was right. They did hear something. On Friday, the 16th of August, South Foreland reported noise of engine at 6:38. Unable to identify owing bad visibility. Dover 6:46. 8 minutes for 3.5 miles. He must have been going. Let's have a look at the chart. Abbotscliff at 6:56. Folkestone and Hythe, no report.
That's strange, sir.
I wonder, South Foreland, Dover, Abbotscliff. See, Folkestone's the last harbour on this stretch of coast for quite a long way. If he turned his engine down to a tick-over, he might have been able to slip in without being heard.
Who? Oh, yes, I'll put him on. Grantley Memorial Hospital, sir.
Hello? Inspector Parry? Yes? I see. Naturally. Yes, I'll be right over. They've picked up Danny Parker.
Would you let me have Miss Tyndall's bill, please?
Why, certainly, Mr. Seymour.
And you might as well make up mine at the same time.
I'll do that.
I suppose there's no more news about poor Danny Barker.
They haven't found the body yet.
I can't get over it. First Kitty and then him.
Seems a bit more than a coincidence, doesn't it?
If there is a connection, I'm sure the police will find it.
Yes, I'm sure they will.
You have a theory then, Miss Baxter.
I'm afraid I don't know enough about it to have any theories, Mr. Seymour.
But, Griff Parker has one.
Perhaps he has. Why don't you ask him?
Yes, I will. Is he in?
No, he went out a little while ago.
Where?
I don't know.
Oh, pity. So I'll try and get hold of him before I leave.
When are you leaving?
As soon as I've packed, I have to get back to town. There's nothing for me to stay here for now, is there?
Yes, sir?
4 gallons, please.
Right, sir.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
You stay open late every night?
No, not as a rule. I wouldn't be open now if I hadn't promised this job first thing in the morning.
Here you are.
Oh, thanks. It's the worst of being your own boss and living on the job. Everybody expects you to work all hours. Can't get anybody else to do it. I have to open here at 7 every morning, and most nights I'm at it till 8 or 9. Bad as being a ruddy doctor. Bloke got me out of bed last Friday at 4 o'clock in the morning with a bust radiator hose. I don't carry Austin spares, and he had to hang about for over 3 hours till I could send the boy down to Dover for one.
Austin? Was it a yellow one?
Yeah. Yellow A90. Why, is he a friend of yours?
Well, I know him. He told me he'd broken down around here somewhere. What time did he get away?
What time did we finish that Austin job on Friday, Ted?
Well, I should say it was about 7:45. That'll be 18 to 4, please, sir.
Oh, sure. You were stuck here all that time, huh? That's too bad.
As a matter of fact, he went to the transport cafe up the road. See if he could get some breakfast. I warned him it was pretty rough, but he seemed to like it. Anyway, we didn't see him for nearly 3 hours. No accounting for taste, is there?
Well, that's funny. He must have changed his mind. I saw him coming back from the harbour when I came up from Dover.
You haven't seen anything of him around here since, have you?
No, I haven't.
Why? Nothing wrong, is there?
No, I'm just trying to get in touch with him.
Why don't you try the harbour, sir? I've seen him down there a couple of times.
Are you sure it's the same man?
Ah, certain. I'd know that car anywhere. Do you know, sir, it's the only Austin A90 I've ever seen without those chromium bits on the front. I remarked about it to you, didn't I?
Yes, come to think of it, you did.
What would he be doing down at the harbour?
Well, he was out in a speedboat a couple of times. A boat called Hellcat. You remember, it belongs to Freddie Butts, doesn't it?
Thanks. Say, do you mind if I use your phone?
Help yourself.
Cliff Hotel here. Who? Oh, hello. No, it's all right. Carry on.
Yeah, it's Seymour, all right. His alibi is shot to pieces. Say, could you manage to search his room? See if you can find anything we can use.
Yes, the room will be vacant tonight. The gentleman in question is leaving.
I'm 15 miles out. I got a line on his boat and where he keeps it, Folkestone Harbor. See if you can stall him until I get back.
Oh, I'll try.
My bags are all packed. I'm leaving in half an hour. Will you have my bill ready?
Yes, of course, Mr. Seymour.
Thank you. Baxter. My bill, please.
Certainly, Mr. Seymour. Here's your bill, Mr. Seymour.
Thank you. Any change will do for tips.
Oh, thank you.
Miss Baxter, I'm afraid the briefcase is too much for me. Would you mind?
Certainly.
Pity Griff Parker isn't back. You'll have to say goodbye to him for me. Oh, no, Miss Baxter. That won't work. Give me the keys. I'm afraid you know too much to be good for you. You must also know that I don't stop at obstacles. Get in the car. Get in.
Well, nurse, how is he?
I think he's gaining strength, Doctor, but I can't understand why his pulse is so slow and his temperature doesn't rise.
All right, nurse, you can leave us now. Well, young man, how are you feeling?
I must be pretty sick to rate a nurse like that.
Now, don't get excited.
There's no danger of that.
Inspector Parry's here. Now, I don't want him to talk much, Inspector. He was pretty far gone when they fished him out of the water.
Hello, Danny. Would you like to tell me what happened?
Just you try and stop me. It was Seymour.
Seymour?
He did it, and he was the man in Kitty's life. He killed her.
All right, take it easy now.
That's about enough for the moment, Inspector.
All right, Doctor. Thanks a lot. We'll take over from there.
I'll send the nurse in.
Oh, no, put me back in the water.
He's all yours, Parry. You can have him now.
All right, take him away.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, this looks more like old times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nurse, do you think you know the right treatment for him?
Oh, he isn't difficult to understand.
You know, Griff, I'm beginning to like it over here. Maybe we could start a training camp, you know, sort of a health center. More than just swimming. Would you be interested, or will you be too busy managing a hotel?
You old so-and-so.
Well, if I'm going to be managing a hotel, that ought to be a full-time job. So we better get on with it. See you tomorrow, Danny.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Shelley.
It's time for your heat treatment.
Oh, no, don't put that electric blanket on again.
Now, you know the doctor says I've got to keep you warm.
Oh, well, if you insist.
you.